Good morning, friends, and welcome to DrupalCon Europe in Barcelona, which is not in Barcelona. So it might be feeling, especially I think for speakers, a little bit weird to give talks without actual interaction with the public, let's say, with people around. But today I tried to keep the same routine I have on the, let's say, the offline conferences, with coffee in the morning, with the last preparations and the last, let's say, training in the morning, and then wearing my happy flower jacket. So I am ready to go for the second day of the DrupalCon Europe, and I hope you'll enjoy the second day at the same way as I enjoyed the first day yesterday. So again, welcome to the talk Moving Drupal Forward by bringing new life into your local community. And the picture you see on screen is drawing by famous Russian artist Ilya Repin, and it's called Barge Howlers on the Volga River. So then when the water level in the Volga River was too low, several people just took and moved the barge forward. And as you can see on their faces, sometimes that was kind of hard job. And the reason I'm showing this picture to you is because it's absolutely not the same thing as moving Drupal forward. So for people who move Drupal forward, the feelings are absolutely different. So important remarks. I will not be talking today about global Drupal community. I will not be talking about community in, let's say, formal sense, like global DA or local DA associations like DA in Belgium or DA Netherlands. I will talk only about your small or medium-sized local meetup group and how you can try to transform it to the better. We will have some time for Q&A at the end of the session. I would like to thank to volunteers who are helping all the speakers during the sessions, and of course to Kuoni crew. So if you have something on your mind, just feel free to ask, and we will keep some time at the end of the session to discuss things and answer your questions. So some things about myself. My name is Yauhen Zenko. I usually introduce myself as Eugene because the sound "he," which we have in Belarusian language, is quite difficult to others. So you are free to call me Eugene. So originally, like I mentioned, I'm from Belarus, but for 6 years living in the Netherlands, working here. And I was working for a large 300 plus people agency for, let's say, last 10 years before smart idea. At beginning of the year, together with my, let's say, fellow friends and colleagues, we started our own company, which is called Solvi, and which now has 2 offices in Netherlands and Belarus. And we started in 1st of February, and I think that it was not the best timing, let's say, in terms of COVID pandemic and lockdowns, etc. But we are still happy to go further. Besides my work, I'm trying to do some things for Drupal community, especially in Belarus. I'm one of the core leaders of Drupal user group Belarus. I'm one of the core organizers of Drupal Camp Belarus. And this year as well, starting from last year, we put a lot of efforts with the core Frontend United team to organize a huge and awesome conference in Minsk, Frontend United 2020, which was obviously canceled because of pandemic. So let's say this year, I'm not so lucky with the timing of great events and great things I'm working on. So hopefully it will be better later. I was involved in Drupal since Drupal 5, and I'm still happy to work with it. I'm still enjoying it. Not Drupal 5, but Drupal in general and the things around it. The rest, my interest is the really stereotypical things about mail. I like football, I like books, I like rock music. I also, one special thing, I like colorful jackets, and probably you can see me in the conference around with different things like this. So that is only special thing about myself. You can find me at in socials like Zeuti, the same as on Drupal.org as well. And probably that's enough for introduction. So back to our topic. I'll start with the first point. I want to discuss a little bit how Drupal doing as a product, because let's say small example. Historically, in Drupal community, we had the global Skype chat which united all the people in Belarus who are working with Drupal, enjoying Drupal, or just trying to start with Drupal. And there was one guy there who popped up in the conversations one per month with direct message: Drupal became too complicated. Drupal became too niche. Drupal is not popular anymore. It's not modern, not actual nowadays, and so on, so on, so on. So, and usually from the age of 18, I'm not into arguing in the internet, but one time I actually exploded and asked about, okay, tell me about your experience. What specifically bothers you and why do you think so? So it turned out to be that the frustration he has is from early DA times. He never touched or actually tried Drupal anymore. He was never following the development of Drupal. But if you ask people who are still, let's say, close to Drupal now and the last 3 to 5 years, I think that for them, at least for me and the people I'm talking to, we see that Drupal is evolutioning and evolutioning great. So it during last few years it became much stronger, much powerful, and professional as a product that has vision and strategy. So just quick some things that describe the current state of Drupal. Awesome thing that we have now Heartbeat. This it takes some time for the slide to refresh, so sorry for this. It has Heartbeat, predictable releases, and it's great to see how what we will have in the system in coming half a year, what we will have in a year, let's say. It's really great to see that we have this structure now in the releases and in the things what we can expect from the system. It was awesome out of the box initiative who specifically, for example, in my experience, helped to onboard a lot of new people to Drupal, and who helped a lot of people to really try Drupal easily. Another things to mention: awesome functionalities in the core. We have media with few clicks. We have JSON API, layout builder, great new theme, Olivera theme, which landed in the core a few days ago. So congratulations to the Olivera team and all the people, let's say, involved in the development, and also to the whole community with this. And much, much more to come. So yesterday, if you were joining the, let's say, initiative coordinators presentation, it was really awesome to see what let's say expects us in the coming few months. And also quite important for the whole, let's say, people from the business, a lot of changes in the marketing and positioning of the Drupal as a product happened with Promote Drupal initiative, which was really great, let's say, for Drupal and people around. So all in all, I would say that in 2020, in a nutshell, Drupal is a product for building ambitious digital experiences. So if earlier we were assumed to compete with products like Joomla, Braco, Typo3, ModX, and you name it, then today the Drupal can really play big games. It can compete with the systems like Sitecore, like Adobe Experience. And especially if we will take into account or let's say think about latest news about the developments of Acquia, about acquiring Mautic and all the work that's related to Mautic, about a lot of investments in the in Acquia itself, the developments of the companies like Dropsolid, who are doing a great job together with their technical team to create this also digital experience platform. So Drupal is big now, and technically it's awesome. So again, we are awesome on technical side, and we see that everything goes well. The product is evolving, it becomes more mature, can solve more and more complicated problems. So it might be that we can think that we are reserved first row seat on the road to success. But I want to challenge you to think for a few moments about one question. Any problems or concerns? Do we have things to focus on fixing? Do we have things to worry about? And to answer these questions, I will have few quotes from people within Drupal. First one is a quote from Floris. A few weeks ago, he made a round of presentation of, let's say, about moving people towards contributing. And this is the quote from one of his sessions. So problem: each year I visit a Drupal camp or con, I meet the same people, all just as nice and great, but all got to be 1 year older. This is unhealthy for our community. If we don't change this, we'll be insignificant in 5 to 10 years. So I'm also, let's say, joining Drupal Association Lead Slack channel. And the next few quotes also from this Slack channel. Our biggest challenge is engaging and growing the community. The next person tells, totally agree, we have the same challenge. We have amount of people on community events declined from 75 to 45. The next one, people are working with Drupal but are not joining community events. So the simple question, if Drupal becomes technically stronger, becomes better product, becomes awesome, or maybe stays awesome but in different way, so it definitely evolves in the right direction. Why we have problem engaging people into the community, or why we have that communities decline? And I started to think about this question and where to start with. So as in university, always start to definition, if it's rabbit or it's a duck. So start with definition, and the best way to start with definition is to ask the vocabulary. Let's try to define what is community. So first one, the very standard. Community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristics in common. So this is a very traditional one, which is kind of feels outdated to the particular moment now. So mostly it's based on the shared location, a group of people living in the same place. That's what community used to be historically, right? But for many of us, our village, our hometown or area we live in is not anymore a key identifier of fellowship. Nowadays, we really like shifted from being born in the community to choosing our own communities and expressing ourselves through the communities we join in. So that's the first one, what we can think about if we're thinking about community. Let's have a look at the second one, a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. So yeah, this sounds not bad, yes, but however, I think it's a little bit too broad because, yeah, if you think about every person, we have so many attitudes, so many interests and goals that we share with other people, but that doesn't mean that I will engage or connect with the people that I share these interests. Yes, for this, we need really something more. So after not being happy with these classic standard definitions of the community, I started a research. So what modern community can be, how to define community nowadays, healthy community, community that has power to develop, to be strong. So I came through a lot of definitions of the community, but one I really liked, so it, let's say, sounded well in my heart, inside my human being, is a definition by Fabian Fortmüller. This is a person who defines himself as Swiss community builder in New York, co-founder of Together Institute. And the definition is quite simple, but I think it's fulfilling. So let's try to understand it. A community is a group of people that care about each other and feel they belong together. So think about it for a moment and how it feels for you. Community is a group of people that care about each other and feel they belong together. For me, feels well, but let's try to decouple, or not decouple, but divide this in small parts and dig a little bit, dive a little bit deeper. So first one, a community is a group of people. So, and actually it's at the end of the day, community always consists of people, and that seems obvious, but we are using the word community often in dehumanizing way, like marketing community, international community, even Drupal community. That's not about people, it's about Drupal, right? So the core, we are often using the word community in dehumanizing way, but we need to understand and always remember that we are talking about real humans with real lives, real stories, real dreams. This is very important to remember. Next thing. A community is a group of people that care about each other. And in my opinion, this is or should be absolute core of a community. The individuals in a group are not just random strangers. They have relationships with each other. They care more about people in the group than about other people, let's say, they see on average person they meet on the street. There is where the magic of community happens. When people care about each other, they develop trust. And this trust unlocks collaboration, sharing, support, hope, safety, and much, much more. Next one. Community is a group of people that care about each other and feel they belong. Communities address one of the main, let's say, fundamental human needs. We want to be loved, we don't want to be lonely, and we want to know that we belong somewhere. And healthy communities give us this sense of home, sense of, yeah, you can call it family, sense of these are my peers, this is my tribe. And yeah, this is where I belong. And the most important, that in this group, I'm being accepted for who I really am. And the last but not the least is one word: together. Community gives people a feeling of sharing identity. We are together. The sum in this case is bigger than its individual parts, right? And this shared identity matters because it can help us to move, let's say, the community, to move the group beyond one-on-one individual relationships. What it actually means? It turns strangers into trusted peers, let's say, through the proxy effect. So we don't know this person, but because it belongs to the same community, to the same, the person shares the same identity with us. So we by default trust the person. We by default accept the person. And this whole definition for me makes much more sense than the classical one. What about you? You can answer in the Q&A section or just in the chat. So later I will of course recall your reactions. So right now I'm not focusing on air tab, but later I'll have a look at it. So I think that working towards building such community or changing your local community to really fit this definition is an awesome way, not only to keep Drupal sustainable, but also to help people change their lives, become happier and more complete. Okay, let's say you also like the definition, it is great. But what now? What we as community leaders or people who want to work towards making community better, healthier, and people in the community happier, what we can actually do. So let's have a look in practice how our local communities look like. So historically, local communities were focusing on Drupal, on best practices of Drupal, new possibilities of Drupal, integrating Drupal with something, ideas about Drupal, promoting Drupal, which is quite good. And it really fits the traditional definition of community, a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. We share interest in Drupal, we have common goal, develop Drupal, move Drupal forward, and we have common attitude. Yeah, we kind of like working with Drupal and people around. It's totally aligned, but let's try to map this, let's say, historical local community focus on the new definition. Again, sorry for repeating it so much, but I think it's really important. A community is a group of people that care about each other and feel they belong together. Question: what we do when we care? Really, what we do when we care? We try to help people with the problems they have. We talk to them. We ask what's wrong. We ask about their pains, about fears, so on. So, and if we today ask our fellow community members about, okay, my friend, what makes you worried? What you are concerned about right now? We will find very interesting things. People in our local Drupal community will almost never tell that it is Drupal, but they will tell different things. And I have some examples. If you think about major issue of current IT world, then most of the surveys will tell you that it's burnouts. Burnouts now, it's really thing that is related to almost every person in IT community and in general in society. And the research told that IT community did even more. So Deloitte conducted a survey. This is a small one, 1,000 full-time workers. 87% of people still love their job. They have passion for their job, but they are constantly stressed. Another number, 77% of professionals have experienced burnout at their current job. And yeah, at their current job. It might be that in terms of 20 years, 77% of people experienced burnout. So if you think, yeah, maybe once for a month, it's not a big problem. The term of 20 years on their current job or 10 years, yeah, it might be. We all have stress. But I have some other things to frighten you a little bit more. Another research, a little bit bigger, like 11,000 people, they had only one question to answer. Do you think that you experience burnout right now? And this number was really shocking for me. 57% of people working in IT industry answered, yes, I think that I feel bad. I have worries, anxieties. I feel burned out. I don't have energy. And this is the statistics before COVID pandemic. So to frighten you a little bit more, you think that maybe that it cannot be worse, but it can. New surveys. Last month reported that 75% of workers have experienced burnout. 40% of those polls said it was a direct result of coronavirus pandemic. The huge research by LinkedIn of 175 million people tell that burnout signs have risen 33% in 2020. So, and this is not the only problem. Of course, the cause of burnout can be different, but this is what people care about. This is what people feel. There are other problems. For example, other research tell that it becomes more and more difficult to people in 2020, 2019, the past few years to socialize, to find friends, to accept people in their life, to bring them closer to yourself. Different problem. Acceptance of people who are different from you is still an issue. And these are the global things that bother us. If we will deep dive a little bit on the local level, also a lot of people experience huge stress from different things happening. For example, in Belarus, we are really close to civil war against the government. People really struggle. They cannot be productive. They feel unhappy about this. In Ukraine, next to Belarus, they feel the same. They feel that because of Russian occupation of their territory, because of war on the territory of Ukraine, they feel the same. They cannot be productive. They lose this feeling of life. In UK, a lot of people, let's say, are worried about Brexit. What will be next? In United States, people are not sure about their current and, let's say, future life. And there are much more examples like this. And these are not just abstract problems. They are actually influence us, influence community members, their feelings of happiness, unhappiness, their productivity, their everyday life, their personal life. And here we have the strengths of local community. We in local community care. We should care. We can talk to people. We can ask them questions. And as a result, we know what we feel. We know what we as a community, as a trusted peers, let's say, feel. What should we do with this knowledge? I think that we as a community, people involved in their local community, we need to change the paradigm. If earlier we talked that Drupal community is about Drupal. So now we need to act like this. Local Drupal community should be focused not on Drupal, but on people who do or want to do Drupal. And of course, if let's say going back to the previous examples, I'm not suggesting to talk about politics, about economical situation, but about living in the time of uncertainty, about living in time of concerns and still being able to handle this, to carry on and to be happy in this situation. This is very important. This is what people in the community care about. Of course, we will still talk about Drupal. We will still talk about technical things, but we need to give enough focus to the things people experience, to what they care about now in their everyday life. And it might be that right now you will tell, okay, we don't have huge problems, or we have problems, but they're constantly changing. And this is another important thing I would like to share with you. The community should be an adaptive system, which quickly reacts on the actual challenges and problems of its members. So I'm quoting this. So be ready to change, be ready to focus on something else, listen to people and hear them. And of course you can tell, yeah, but this all sounds like charity. Yes? So first of all, I would say you that the charity is awesome. It gives you a nice feeling afterwards to help people and support them. But it was never just a charity. So there are also pragmatic, practical benefits that a healthy community brings to us, even to the business. You know, when you are trying to sell to your company, to your manager, that invest in this community is great. You can talk to him or her, to the person about very practical things. Healthy community still helps in terms of knowledge sharing and problem solving. So we still focus on technical, but not only. Community is the right place to have encouragement and support. It's great to create professional network. It's great to have healthy community, to have a voice in global Drupal community. And I think quite a lot of you can find other things that a local community, healthy community brings to you. Now, the question. Sorry. How can we detect or how can we test our local community if it's in a good shape? And I have 1 minute, 3 questions test for you. So think about it. First is self-identity. If your pals, peers, community members identify themselves as a part of this community, this is very important. If they identify that they are part of their community, then they try and, let's say, to build these links, build the relationship with other people in the community. So self-identification. The second one is contribution. And I'm not talking only about contribution in the sense of code contribution. I'm talking about broader. Do the people in the community contribute into each other? Do they help each other to find the job? Not because they, let's say, get bonus for this, but out of the willingness to help. Do they congratulate each other with the, I don't know, birth of the child? Or in general, do they contribute to each other on a personal level? And the third one is if the community is growing. Because if it's not growing, then 95% probability that it's stagnating or will be stagnating in a short period of time. If at this point you already have something that is moving inside of you, and you are thinking, okay, why not to try? Maybe I need to try to start the Meetup group in my, let's say, in my community, in my area. Then I have few practical tips. We still have 10 minutes. I will try to go quickly through them, but let's say bootcamp. What should you do? First, of course, be inspired. And being inspired is relatively simple, especially on the events like this, on the conferences. There are so many people around that are really inspiring and can support you. So be inspired is not a problem usually. But the second one never comes without inspiration. Make a decision. And making decision is not simple, because you can imagine it's a lot of job to achieve good results, to start being happy from what you see, from what is happening, what's changing. We are all people. We have a lot of doubts. And the thing what actually made myself moving was in 2017 in Drupal Con in Vienna. It was a session by Jeffrey Jem Maguire, and it was in general how to make your company contributing, but it was one slide. 1 million reasons not to contribute. And as you can see on the slide, it can be really a lot of reasons not to do anything: doubt, lack of knowledge, lack of time, etc., etc., etc. A lot of things, but they are all solvable. With the right approach, with the right commitment, you can do great things. And yeah, really great session. I encourage you to find it, to find the video and watch it, especially if you want to convert, let's say, your company, the company you work in now, to the contributing party. Tip 2, find fellow, find mentor. In Russian language, we have a proverb. One in the battlefield is not a warrior, or in English, they tell, no man is an island. So if you're studying everything by yourself without backup of support, the chances to fail not make that quite high. So try to inspire people around you in your network, your specific, your friends. Try to reach out people from your area, let's say in Drupal Slack or whatever group you have. Besides, try to reach, let's say, local community leads. Try to reach people who are already organizing an event, even in other area. Ask if they can mentor you, if they can support you, share the tips and tricks with you. And it's now it's possible, you know. Now the world is small due to the thanks to the technologies and etc. So do this. People have time for you. Make sure that you did all you can to find at least one person next to you to feel this elbow, you know, lean on me, brother, and give me a hand, right? So it will help you a lot. Very practical thing: find funding. Find funding, and it might sound difficult, but it is not. Approach your company, approach companies in your area, approach big fishes. I mean, try to talk to the conference in the sponsor booth with Acquia, with Pantheon, with people from Dropsolid and other companies. If they are good guys, you know, if you have a good idea, if you have passion, that there are a lot of people in the world who want to help you with this. Last but not the least, in Drupal community, in Drupal Association, let's say, we have Drupal Community Cultivation Grant. So you can Google it, and you can find, let's say, a form to submit, and it might be the case that will help you to get the funding. Find your first speakers. Again, don't focus only on your network, on your country. People are usually really willing to help you. So you can try even to approach people from another countries. Usually we underestimate how good people are. So a lot of people from even other countries, other cities are ready to invest their time and funding into helping you to build the great things, to build the community in your town, in your neighborhood. So don't hesitate to ask. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Ask people, and then you see what the life brings you. Announce your event well in advance. Give people time to plan the event. Don't be in a hurry. Use all possible sources to announce it. Meetup.com, Facebook, Twitter. Ask to retweet people even that you think that they will not do. People are great. That I want to put this message, let's say, into your heart. Make the event happen and make it awesome. Try to plan well. Double check everything that can break. Be smile and welcoming. Don't forget to reward people for their efforts. Now we have awesome credit system in Drupal, even for non-code contributions. So make sure you create project of your community, you create issue, and say thanks to the people using the credits. Besides, handshake in non-COVID times, let's say, or just a smile, just a sincere thank, always make people warm, make people, let's say, valued. Gather feedback and be open. I know that you will put a lot of efforts, and negative feedback may frustrate you because only you know how much efforts you put into making this happen. But you might be pissed off at first. Don't react impulsively. Don't react immediate. Prepare yourself to say thanks for the negative feedback. If you'll have negative feedback, still breathe, say, thank you, my friend. I will take this into account and think about it. And make it rest. Yes, make it rest in an hour, in a day, think about it. Maybe it's also was something constructive. So every negative feedback is chance to learn and validate your own ideas. The next one, be consistent. One meetup will not build a community. 10 meetups will not build community as well, but it will give people more time, more possibility to create these personal relationships, to create trust, to create the links which will, in the later phase, will help you to build this healthy community. The last, number 10, enjoy connecting people, enjoy this process, enjoy this road, enjoy changing their lives, the people lives, your life to the better, enjoy building these connections, enjoy building these relationships, and dream big. On the next step, think how you can engage more people, how you can approach students, how you can approach people from non-IT, how you can approach people from different, let's say, expertise, from psychology, from business, etc., etc. So think about, really dream about building healthy community that change people to the better. And also in this, that's it from the tips and tricks. I can think of more than that, so you can always approach me for this. But also I promised to share with you some inspiration that helps us to learn, helps me to learn. And I think we have more examples, but I will share one with you. In our community, we have our, let's say, fellow neighbors from Ukraine. They have meetups in more than 4 cities. They have different formats. They have really Drupal cafes, Drupal breakfast, regular meetings. They really often hold trivias, and that's awesome. They have quizzes. They have fantastic Drupal camp, which I encourage everybody to come once in a lifetime at least. Drupal camp Kiev with last year it was 4 or even 500 attendees. So it's awesome. They are doing great job. But that's not the only thing that I want to share about them or to learn from them. Another awesome example is how they identify themselves in the community. You see, I really enjoy the way every person who identify themselves, himself, herself as Ukrainian Drupal community member can mention this in the profile. And you see now, if you go to the Drupal Ukraine community marketplace, you see 255 people identifying themselves as a part of Drupal Ukraine community. They're supporting a lot of projects and doing a lot of job. But you cannot see a lot of details from this, right? But here, there is a resource, drupalcontributions.org, and it's nice to see that Drupal Ukraine community, this slide is took some time ago, was taken some time ago, but still by that time it was place number 5 by number of projects supported, place number 25 by number of credits given. And this is, I think, this is awesome. This is awesome to see and identify yourself as a part of this community. So as a recap, Drupal is doing good technically. I don't think we have a lot of doubts of this, but we have some problems or challenges to address. We need to try to transform local communities to focus more on the people. We need to try to transform our local community to be adaptive, to quickly respond to the challenges that people in the community, people we care about, have. And start today. It's all possible. Talk to the people today. Try to make the decision today, or to at least get some information from other people today. So it's all possible. And usually what I like to finish the session with 3 hugs, but it's not possible, let's say, in person today, but I'm still hugging you virtually. So that's almost it. One final very important for me, very important quote for me from the same probably presentation by Jem. Nobody made a greater mistake than they who did nothing because they could do only a little. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. Feel free to reach me out if you have any questions afterwards. Now we have time for Q&A if we have questions. I think that if we have questions, then Valerie will ask me them. We'll wait for 20, 30 more seconds. Yeah, I think we don't have questions. Let me see. I will double check the on-air tab myself. Okay, we have, when did you start building your local communities? I started 3 years ago. And yeah, we were doing great, let's say. Not that I started building the community. The community in Belarus were quite powerful back 5 years ago. But then for a few years, nothing happened. So Meetup stopped, conference stopped, etc. So I had a lot of help immediately from the people who were earlier involved in the community. But it helped that I put the, let's say, new fire. I tried to put the new fire, and a lot of people joined immediately. So it was a huge inspiration and huge support for myself. So since 2017 until pandemic, we had like quarterly or even 2 monthly meetups with attendance around 70 people, and we were able to create, to run great conference, I think, in 2019, and we had awesome plans for 2020, but I'm pretty sure that we will be back stronger next year, and we will try to focus on the new things, like I mentioned, on the mental health of the people, on bringing more topics that will help people to carry on. Thanks for the question, by the way. So I think we can slowly round up. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the talk and let's say had something for you. So I'm really willing to have some feedback. You can do this in person. You can do this. Have you tried online meetings, gatherings now? No. And this is because, let's say, I didn't try it. I wanted to try it, but I didn't try because of tough times I was passing myself in this year with canceled conference, with starting my own things. I didn't have enough energy and passion to do this, but I'm recovering, and a lot of, let's say, small talks about mental health helped me to do this. So we really plan to do this soon. Personally, the question is, how do you reach out to underrepresented groups, so to speak? It's only personally, and we are still need to learn a lot from this, but we don't see a lot of underrepresented groups showing up on the meetups. So we try to bring them from other communities, not related to our direct, let's say, Drupal community. Historically, Belarus is very, let's say, patriarchal country, right? We have focus on men, and we want to change this. We try to change this. For example, at DrupalCon Belarus, we were focusing on having at least 20% or 30% of let's say, female speakers. From on Frontend United, we had ambitious goal to have 50% of female speakers, and also speakers from LGBT communities, from let's say, white people. So we try to focus on it, and yeah, it's only personally. I think the session should end now. Sorry if I didn't answer everything. So thank you for joining, and feel free to reach out to me personally. Have a nice day. Enjoy the Drupal conference and come to the contribution days.